What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We got another free pick for you, but today's video is going to be more educational based. It's kind of a tip for new bettors. Even if you're not a new bettor, a lot of people don't know this piece of structuring your unit size and structuring your bankroll in the proper way to make money long term, as well as minimizing your risk and your exposure to the books. So I'm going to give you a tip and breakdown. This YouTube channel is primarily focused on the educational aspects of sports betting, along with your additional free pick and your free pick breakdowns. I can't speak. Your free pick breakdowns that give you a little bit of insight on the angles we're using and how we're identifying value in terms of the free play. Yesterday's free play smacked was Mets plus 1.5. They won like 12-2, I believe. So that was a no sweat winner. That's always nice. Free plays have been hot, fellas. Free plays have been hot. We're going to keep it rolling with another one today in the WNBA. But first, some housekeeping, some links to get you guys. Below in the description of this video, there are 3 links posted. The first is BETUS. It is a sports book. We have an 125% deposit match bonus using promo code STATBETZ. The link is down below. I've talked about BETUS before. It's a really good offshore book that has very, very good MLB lines. That's why we're promoting it, is because they have some of the best MLB lines out there. Compared to the onshore books and compared to other offshore books, typically with MLB, they have really, really good lines, and you're able to shop lines around on BETUS. So that's why you've been, kind of drilling that promo. Go over there, get you some free coin, and get some good MLB bets because now we're in the dog days of summer, so MLB is going to be the primary thing we are betting on. We obviously have other stuff mixed in there. WNBA, we have PGA out. CFL bet today, actually, Canadian Football League. Lots of soccer as well. But for your good MLB lines, a good go-to is BETUS. Secondly, Chalkboard. We've been running those player prop parlays. They've been doing really, really good work for us. So for the player prop parlays and all that stuff, if you like those DFS apps like Sleeper and Prize Picks, we got a Chalkboard link. Make sure it's legal in your state. It's illegal in about half of them. We have an 100% deposit match bonus on Chalkboard using code CLV. So go get you some free coin there. If you like those player prop parlays, come hop in premium. We got a bunch of those every single day. I think we've made 30 and a half units in the past 2 weeks just on player prop parlays. We're not a parlay betting group, but the correlation angle that we are taking with these player prop parlays has been printing us money. We're risking a half unit on each one. Some of them are returning, 20x, 25x, and we've hit a few here and there, so it has been profitable long term, and that's why we're promoting it. Go get on Chalkboard, really good lines as well. Number 3, running another discount code for you guys, 33% off for the first 15 people that join premium. The last one that I released, the code HEAT, it literally sold out in at 2 hours, I think, an hour and a half. So if you do want a discount code, we're going to be running some all summer, just because, we want to build those bankrolls for the football season. But we got another one for you today. Link is in the bio to upgrade, 33% off any package. And it is sweep 129. One of our analysts, Scott, had a 6-0 sweep yesterday. So we're feeling generous, and we're running another discount code for you guys. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of this before I give you guys your free pick. Threshold and unit management. So if you're not new to betting, you know what a unit is. A unit is a quantity or a size of your bankroll. Now, if you're betting, 6 to 10 plays a day and your exposure is limited, some people make their unit size 2% of their bankroll, meaning if you have an $1,000 bankroll, your unit size would be $20. But if you have a style like mine where you're betting, 25 plays a day and you're, betting props, everything under the sun, your unit size should be 1% or even less, sometimes a 0.5%. But your basic unit size for 1 unit plays should be 1% of your bankroll. If you're an $1,000 bettor, it should be $10. That is how you limit your exposure. If you're betting 25 plays a day and your unit size is 3 units, you have 75% of your bankroll at risk in one day. Don't put yourself in the position to where variance can capitalize against you. If you have a bad day, we all do, make sure you're not risking too much and exposing yourself too much. Now, if you're betting 30 plays a day, that's fine if you see that much value on the slate. That's the case with me often. And my unit size is 1% of my bankroll. 1% of my bankroll to limit my exposure. Now, a common question that I get, and on the screen here's this PDF that I typed up that we're going to be releasing to you guys along with a ton of other sports betting information. More on that later. There'll be an announcement for that. But this is just the basic threshold management. So what is a threshold? A threshold is a percentage increase or decrease in your bankroll that justifies a unit size change. So everyone's like, I get this question all the time. When should I increase my unit size and when should I decrease my unit size? The goal of sports betting is to increase your unit size as frequently as possible while minimizing exposure, because it increases the compound interest part of sports betting. So if you stay at $1,000 and you build that up to $5,000, but you're still betting $10 a play, you're negating the compound interest element of sports betting. The compound interest and the ROI element of sports betting is what leads people to become millionaires doing this. But they are smart about it. They limit their exposure, and we go from there. So I'll break it down for you. A threshold, if you're a more conservative bettor, like the lower end of the scale, 15 to 20%, as you can see here, would be used by bettors with a 5+ figure bankroll who are less conservative. So if you have a bankroll that's $10,000 or above, I recommend your threshold being 15% to 20%. That is for more conservative bettors who like to have less risk, less exposure, and are generally more conservative and not smarter with their money, but just taking a conservative approach to betting. Now, if your bankroll is less than $10,000, or you're more of a risky bettor, you're betting bigger, you're betting more plays a day, I recommend the higher end threshold of 25 to 30%. Now, what does this mean exactly? So say you start, your bankroll is $1,000, and whatever you designate your threshold, it should be in between that 15% and that 30%. That basically boils down to preference. But let's say you select 20%. So that means if you turn that $1,000 into $1,200, you've hit a threshold. You have increased your bankroll by 20%, and that is when you adjust your unit sizing. So now your unit goes from $10 to what? $1,200 would be $12. And then you restart the threshold and you take 20% of $1,200. Whenever you clip that, what, it would be like $1,500 or something like that. That is when you would increase your unit size again to 15. Now the same goes for decreases. 20% decrease from 1,000. If you get down to 800, you would then adjust your unit size down to $8 and go from there. Once again, using a 1% unit size. Now, where it gets a little more complicated, and this is what the pros do, this is what people who track their results and know what time of year they're most profitable. Now, for me personally, for most people out there, the most profitable time of the year, what I like to call hunting season, is September through March. The reason for this is because there's lower variance sports, such as football, such as college basketball, a little bit of soccer, primary NHL seasons, stuff like that. That is typically when I make the most money. For reference, I made 110 units during this time of the year, September to March, and 60 units from April to August. So my most profitable time of the year is that span of 6 months. Now, the goal is to increase your unit size as frequent as possible. Now, if I know only by tracking results and doing this for multiple years that I profit more in that 6 month time span, my 20% threshold, I'm going to make my threshold 20%. That is because I know I'll hit more thresholds and I'll be able to compound my unit more frequently. Now, I increase that threshold to 30% from April to August. The reasoning behind this is because I know, number one, if I get crushed, I'll lose less money because there's higher variance sports. And number two, I'm just going to profit less in general. So I want to minimize my exposure because the sports are higher variance and harder to win. So that is why I make my threshold 30% from April to August and 20% from September to March. So basically what I'm saying is whatever time of year your favorite sports or your most profitable sports Don't guess, back this up with results. But whatever your most profitable time of the year is, lower your threshold because you're able to compound your unit more frequently. Now, whatever your less profitable time of the year is, increase your threshold because you're minimizing your exposure and risk. The threshold should always be 15 to 30%. 30% is the very, very, conservative approach, and 15% is more risky, almost. Now, what does this look like in terms of results? So if I made 120 units from September to March, like I did last year, 120 units from September to March, but I used a 30% threshold, this is what it would look like. 30% threshold. I would increase it, one time from 5,000 to 6,500. Second time, this is all one unit 1% of your bankroll as a unit. And I increase it 4 times from that time span because I'm using a 30% threshold. 120 divided by 30 is 4 times. So I only increase my unit 4 times. What would that look like? Well, I would turn that 5,000 into 14,000, right? 14,280. Now, if I used a 20% threshold, I would end up increasing it 6 times because 120 divided by 6 is, 120 divided by, what are we talking about here? 120 divided by 20 is 6. Sorry, I'm lost for words there. But that means I would increase it 6 times throughout that 120 unit gain or that time span. Now, this is what it would look like. 5,000 to 14,929. Now, the increase is $649 just because of my threshold size. Now, 649 might not seem like a lot, but when you start compounding year after year, those numbers become very, very important. Now, for example, if you were to lose 6 thresholds in a row, you would still have $1,048. 6 in a row, which is insane. You probably shouldn't be betting if you're losing 6 in a row. But that is with a 20% threshold. If you lost 6 in a row, starting at $5,000, this is how much you'd be left. If you lost 6 in a row using a 30%, you would lose 1,200. So you would save yourself money because you have a bigger threshold. That is why I talk about, obviously we're not losing 6 thresholds in a row, but that's the extreme end. If you just talk about it in terms of win or loss, 30% threshold means you lose more, 20% means you win more. So you just got to figure out what works for you, what time of year, are you best at, or maybe it's all the same. Maybe you just stick with 20% or 15% or whatever. The goal though is to increase your unit size as frequent as possible while minimizing exposure. So we're not increasing unit sizes every 5% gain in our bankroll. We're not doing that, but that is the ultimate goal because we want to use compound interest to our benefit. I hope that all makes sense. Your free play, if you made it through all this, you guys deserve it. Your free play is the Seattle Storm and the WNBA -6.5. I sent this out. It's an alternate line. -6.5 at -155. I sent this out at -7 at even money a day and a half ago. So one of the perks of being in premium is you just get better lines, you get them early, and more value to be had. So keep that in mind. But your free pick is the Seattle Storm -6.5. Best of luck as always. See you in the next one.